Okay, this is Andy Graham with the Ask Andy Show. I'm in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. I've been to 90 countries and traveled non-stop for 16 plus years. Answering questions from readers, global questions. Okay, I got a kind of a really complicated one, so deal with me here. Larry S. asked, and thanks Andy for answering my last question. I love your videos. I can relate a lot. My main question this time, and I think it's a good question, is what countries have what I call the poor country tax? The poor country tax. That's his question. What countries have what I call the poor country tax, meaning which countries have a departure tax? I know Cuba, Philippines, Cambodia, Costa Rica. Can you explain upon that? I also hear Argentina charges you an entry tax. Is that true? Also, same topic, have you ever had a problem entering country at customs, meaning they try to charge you for stuff you're bringing? Any countries to be aware of that? And on a side note, you never answered before, have you been to Boston? I have been to Indiana, to Purdue, and West Lafayette. Thanks, Andy. Okay, yes, I've been to Boston 2 or 3 times. I actually used to fly in there and then take a Greyhound bus for $57. They had this thing for a while on Greyhound where you could take a bus anywhere in the country for $57. So you could fly into Miami, take a bus to Indiana, and save $300. And I flew into Boston and took the Amtrak to Indiana, which is never on time. Okay. But yeah, I like Boston. It's really a very older American thing, and they have the cobblestone streets and it's a pretty thing. But it's full on big. I mean, it's a big city, but it's got a lot of history. I went and visited with the Harvard group there. I did the Harvard's bloggers group. Okay, poor man's tax. Now, I really didn't know the answer to this, so what I did is I wrote Jerome, my travel expert, which you can get consulting with him if you want to. It's $35 an hour, but you have to go through me because he really doesn't like to be annoyed. He's really a funny guy. Okay, and he wrote me back in the thing. He says he's telling you a good source of information is always updated link here. It's called IATA Travel Centre.com. So IATA Travel Center with the spelled with the R-E instead of the E-R. I'll put this in the, if you click on the corner of the web thing and watch on YouTube, I'll put it in the description right there. And it's got all the, it's called Customs, Currency, Airport Tax, Regulations. Okay. These things are really, really difficult to determine, and somewhere along the line about 2 or 3 years ago they started putting all these things inside the plane tickets, and now there's a lot of countries that just don't want to do it, and maybe Cuba, I don't know, but country by country regulations, how much money you can bring, etc. That's what's in this link. Airport taxes. So this link that I'm going to put in here has all this information on airport taxes. And yes, there are a few countries left where we pay airport tax at the airport, although almost everywhere it is now included in the ticket price. Okay, so it's really included in most. I haven't had it pay in a long time. Exceptions are Indonesia, to be changed in 2015, Philippines, East Timor, San Tome, a place where he really wants me to go to. He keeps trying to get me to go San Tome. It's a little corner country in the middle of Africa. And he did that on purpose. Oh, thank you. Okay, and this is really good. It's really changing over. I don't think it's really a big deal anymore, but you really need to know it before you get to the airport. And the reason why you need to know it is sometimes they require you to pay in dollars. I've actually had to go and exchange local money to buy dollars so I could pay it, because it's like sometimes countries aren't good at collecting taxes. So what they can do is they can only get the import-export, anything that goes through a gate. The really bad ones, what they do is they have a stop at like a toll bridge when you enter a city and a toll bridge when you leave the thing. Any cars going through there have to pay money. And that's about the only tax money they collect. So in a way I think the poor country tax is pretty correct. They're not good at collecting taxes from their people because nobody will pay it. And so what they do is they set up toll bridges. So anywhere where there's a gate, there's a fee, okay? And okay, but here they're all kind of jumping on board anyway, because initially airlines were not happy to include the tax in the ticket, as many of the ticket prices seemed more expensive, and it was more of a hassle on the airlines for responsibility for paying the countries the taxes, and the past had paid them. But then they found out that they hit a jackpot, a huge jackpot. Most tickets these days are restricted and change travel, no shows and void tickets. Basically, if the person changes the ticket, they get to keep this money. Okay, so that's been a jackpot for the airlines, and they get to keep all this extra cash as profit. So they don't. But some countries force them to pay it. But you know, generally it wasn't so. Therefore, it's just extra cash, and the guy lost his ticket, and this thing is included in the ticket. You see now that most of the time when, you know, before, like, Spirit Air was really being a crook, they're saying it was a $6 ticket, right? They didn't have a $6 ticket. They had like the fuel fee as an extra charge, right? So that, you know, of course the fuel should be included in the thing, but there's some real airlines like Ryanair that are really, Ryanair and Spirit Air are really, really tricky airlines. But they're being forced by the governmental forces to have one price ticket and do it. And but always when you're buying a ticket, you have to go all the way to the end before you're absolutely sure that everything's included in the price of the ticket. And then get, you know, and it's scary because if you're looking for some really good prices, always click all the way down. Don't just stop there at the price. You got to click all the way down to where it says buy almost. Don't enter your credit card, but it'll get to a point where it says everything included, and then you'll know the price. Because the first thing they'll do the bait with the slow number, then try to get you on the high number. But Jerome's an expert on this, and I'll put this link inside the. I'll try to put it on my website too. It's an annoyance more than I don't really worry about this stuff because it's not a breaker. Whether or not I pay airport exit fees or something is not a reason to go or not go to a country, really. A visa, yeah, when you have to apply for a visa before you leave the country, that's not a big deal. Like I was just thinking, I could fly into Turkey and Eastern Europe, but I think they want $100 entry fee, which is quite big. So that's a you know, it's not a $20 one; it's an entry fee. That's like a poor country tax in a way too, because visas can be like a poor country tax too. Most of the countries I go into, Africa, charge me like $100 to $200 to get into the country. I like to keep my visa right around $1 a day at maximum. I mean, here in Ecuador, it's 90 days with no money. But it's really, they really keep conspiring. Now, Ecuador used to be you could leave the country and come back. Now they say you leave, you can apply for a 6-month visa. They're really just going for the tourist or the long-term expat that's going to put like $25,000 in the bank. But it shouldn't be a game breaker. Things that are game breakers are religion sometimes. I mean, if it's all Islamic country, these are a little annoying. Game breakers are when, you know, they're having violence, like right now. It's not really the best time to go to Thailand. Okay, and but you know, most countries are all the same, so really don't worry about it. Even getting a visa, one of the great things about getting a visa is it just cuts the idiot tourists down to a minimum, right? So you got these, in countries like this place, we got these tourists that are just walking around in full uniform and traveler pants on, traveler boots on. You got backpackers here that got more gear on them than crazy. They got little bed roll mats so they can sleep on the ground, right? They really are like children got caught in the gear shop, right? So when you go to these countries that require a visa, you get rid of all these nitwits, okay? And you start seeing some people that are really adept at traveling, and really, because the ability to get a visa to another country is like an American applying for a passport. It's way beyond most people. So, I mean, a visa where you have to go to the embassy or send it in an application to somebody or hire a company to do it for you. And so that really, sweetens the pot for people like me, because I get rid of all the riffraff right off the thing, and I get rid of all the casual tourists that are just gawkers. It's like they always make a joke about the Japanese people with the cameras everywhere. Well, Americans are the same, you know. It's really cliche, and it gets really old to see the exact same type of person. It's really, oh wow, they got this glossy look in their eye. So the visas, I don't really consider any of these things. When somebody doesn't go to a country for a $30 tax or something, great, they got less tourists. It's more natural, it's more cultural, it's more real, it's more authentic. Okay, that's my answer. Thanks. If you want to talk to Jerome, write an email to me, and you're going to have to pay the money, and then I'll get you in contact with him.